All right. The next coverage we're going to talk about in our cover 3 family is what we call match. Match. We play match versus 2x2 formations. 2x2 formations. It could be double tight ends, 2x2. It could be a tight end and receiver to one side and a twin side, which is 2 split receivers to another, and 2x2. It can be a traditional 2x2 like this. But any 2x2 set, we will play match coverage. Match coverage. Alright? The principles of match coverage are very similar in nature, almost the exact same to fist for cover 3. Alright? The principles are almost exactly the same. The difference is how we handle the curl flat defenders. So we're going to go through with the corners first, then we'll do the overhangs, then we'll do the hook defenders. The corners play mod technique. Mod technique. Okay, they'll line up 1x1 with divider leverage. Okay, they can play off 7x1 with divider leverage. They can bail at the snap of the ball to 7x1, but they're gonna be with divider leverage and play mod. Mod stands for man on deep. Man on deep. Man on deep. What that means is that we're gonna play man-to-man on the number 1 receiver unless he goes under 5 yards. Hitch, slant, quick out, underneath 5 yards. If he's underneath 5 yards, we're going to call under, and now we're going to use our midpoint technique that we did in fist. We're going to use our midpoint technique that we did in fist. Let me say this again. We're going to use our midpoint technique that we did in fist. Alright. He needs to make sure while he's seeing that number 1 receiver, he still has zone eyes. While he sees the number 1, he has zone eyes. The reason is he needs to make sure his eyes are looking to see where the number 3 receiver is. We need to be aware of where the number 3 receiver is. Where the number 3 receiver is. We're going to talk about why we need to be aware of the number 3 in a moment. Okay, but all he needs to know is be aware of where the number 3 receiver is while he's bailing. So although he's playing man on deep on number 1, he needs to have zone eyes and be aware of where number 3 is. Alright, our free safety is still a middle field defender. His rule does not change. Our curl flat defenders. Our curl flat defenders will align 5x1 with divider leverage. 5x1 with divider leverage. That means 5x1 inside or outside, maybe head up on them based on divider leverage. Okay? The better they are, the tighter they can be. The worse they are, the deeper they can be. So anywhere between 5 and 7 yards. We'll talk about their techniques later, but they're going to have their outside foot up, what we call their leverage foot, and they're going to shuffle into the curl. Just like that fist adjustment. They're going to shuffle into the curl. If 2 is in the curl, so 2's up. If 2's up, he's going to take him man-to-man. And he will use his divider rules to determine if he's going to be playing outside in the trailer, inside on top. So if the receiver is running inside his divider, he will play in the outside trail position. If the receiver gets outside the divider, he will need to now play inside on top. He will now need to play inside on top. So he's going to use his divider rules to determine what leverage, what position maintenance he needs to have on the number 2 receiver. So if he drops the curl and 2 is not in the seam, so he's not vertical, it's exactly like cover 3. So now what's going to happen? Fist. It's like cover 3 fist. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to drop and I'm going to start, let's say 2's on the out, I'm going to go through the curl and then drive on the flat when number 2 out leverages me. I'll go through the curl and then drive on the flat when the flat route out leverages me. If he goes under, he'll call under, and he will squeeze back, being aware of where the number 3 receiver is. He will squeeze back until somebody else shows to the curl flat area, the flat. Okay? This is very similar to becoming a 2 weak to first crosser player. Very similar on the undercall to being a 2 weak to first crosser player. If 2's weak, if that 2 goes weak, he becomes the guy you have man to man. If not, we're looking for the first crosser coming back the other way. Okay? Looking for the first crosser coming back the other way. I'm going to squeeze back towards the football. If no crosser shows, okay, no crosser shows, so let's say I'm here and I'm this safety, I squeeze back. I now need to be ready to squeeze him back and possibly take him through to the opposite flat. Okay, we'll talk about why he does that in a moment, but you got to get ready to squeeze back and possibly take him through the opposite flat. As we squeeze back, we always need to be aware of the check down. Right? So again, to reiterate, we're going to drop, if I'm the overhang curl flat defender, I'm going to drop through the curl. If 2's up through the curl, I'm going to take a man-to-man in the outside trail. If 2's out, I'm going to go through the curl flat area, just like in fist, and wait until 2 out leverages me and then drive on him in the flat. If 2's under, I'm going to flip my hips, start to squeeze back, call under, 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 and I become like a 2 weak to first crosser player. I need to squeeze him back to the football until somebody else shows. If no one shows, I got to be ready to take him through. Okay? The rules that we use to define how we play this is called 2 up and out, swing deep of 3. So I define the principle of the curl flat defender in match coverage, and now I'm telling you the rule. The rule is 2 up and out, swing deep of 3. So again, now we use the rule. If 2's up, I got him playing divider leverage. If 2's out, I got him going through the curl flat area because it's like cover 3. If 2's underneath, I'm going to squeeze him back like cover 3 play 2 weak to first crosser, looking for this swing deep of being aware of the swing deep of the number 3 player. That is the curl flat defenders in match coverage. Curl flat defenders in match coverage. If the number 2 receiver is a tight end, now I want to play 5x3 off of that tight end. 5x3 off the tight end. 5x3 off the tight end. I will now pound my feet flat-footed, and we'll talk about technique later, but I'll pound my feet flat-footed and use the same rules. So he's still 2 up and out, swing deep to 3. He's going to drop. He's going to be in the curl. If 2's in the curl, he's going to take him up. If 2 goes out, I'm going to go through the curl area and then drive on him when he goes to the flat. If 2 goes under, I call under, 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 and squeeze him back. Squeeze him back. Now, we need to talk a little bit about how we play the smash route, or the under route by the number 1, with the overhangs and the corners. There are 2 different ways that we can play it. The first way is for the corner to call under, 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 and midpoint when number 1 is under on a hitch. When that happens, it becomes regular cover 3 to that side. There aren't 2 vertical routes on that side of the field. And so now, the curl flat defender will scream to the flat right now. He will scream to the flat and do what we call hunt 1 right now. Hunt 1 right now. Okay? So he's going to drop to the curl, but if he gets that under call, he's going to hunt 1 right away. If 1 is shallow, he'll let him go and squeeze back towards the football. Right? The second way is tell the corner you don't consider the hitch an under route, so you're going to match the hitch. So now when number 1 runs the hitch, the corner is going to match it, and there's the safety, the overhang, the curl flat player will stay on the number 2 on the corner or seam or vertical route. Those are the 2 ways we can play the hitch or smash route in our cover 3 concept when we play match coverage. Next, we're going to talk about the hook defenders. Alright, so the next thing we're going to talk about is playing the weak and the strong hook defender in in match coverage. In match coverage. Okay, the weak and the strong hook defender in match coverage. Alright, we're still going to drop to the strong and weak hook, just like we did in fist. We're still going to drop to the strong and weak hook. We're going to still drop to the strong and weak hook. Alright? Now, we're going to match 3. Match 3, and we have to take 3 through. Just like earlier you had to take 2 or 3 through to the flat, we have to take 3 through. Let me say this again. We are a hook defender. We have to match 3, take 3 through. That is after the patterns are ran. What we call after pattern distribution, because we're in a zone match. It's not 1, 2, 3 in the back's number 3. 3 could come from a shallow crosser. So the first example I'll give is we'll drop to the hook, okay? We get vertical routes. My corners are mod on 1, so they're basically playing man-to-man. Safeties are basically playing man-to-man with divider leverage now because they went through the curl, okay? We're matching off number 3, and number 3 checks down. My strong hook defender will match the number 3 to his side. Well, when we count 1, 2, 3, he's number 3. 1, 2, 3. I'll match him. Going through the hook with zone integrity and zone eyes. So don't drive right now. I'm going to go through the hook, and then once 3 starts to out-leverage me, I will drive on the number 3. The hook defender away from the number 3, the final number 3, will robot. The hook defender away from the final 3 will robot. Remember, robot means roll and run to find the drag or dig. So in this situation, he would robot looking for the drag or dig coming from the other side, which prevents you from being high load in the hook. Again, they have the possibility of making 3 levels. We have to make 3 levels. 1, 2, 3. We have to make 3 levels when the offense has the possibility of making 3 levels. So we robot the person away from the weak hook defender. Away from the 3 player. The final 3. Okay? Here's another scenario. On a 2x2 formation, we're running match. Weak safety and strong safety dropping towards the curl. The will and the mic are dropping towards the hook. Okay? We're dropping towards the corresponding hooks. Alright. We get an under route by the number 2. We get a flare by the back. We get a dig by the strong side number 2. So we're going to go through how we're going to match this pattern. Okay? So, the weak safety has his number 2 up in the curl, so he's going to match it with divider leverage. The strong safety has an under route by his number 2. He's going to call under, start to squeeze back who becomes the number 2 weak? The back. Okay, so he would take the 2 weak. But he's going to stay in the curl until he out-leverages me to the flat. Okay? The weak and strong hook defenders are dropping off of the number 3, or dropping to the hook and matching the final number 3. Well, when we count, who's the final number 3? 1, 2, 3. He's the final number 3 on this side of the field. So the will's going to match the number 3 through the hook. Take 3 through. We're going to take 3 through, meaning we're going to take him through to the flat. The mic is away from the final number 3. He's going to robot to the middle of the field, looking for the drag or dig. So what you see now is I got a 2-on-1 on the dig and a 2-on-1 on the post. So I've created 1, 2, 3 levels for a 3-level route. Okay? 3 levels for a 3-level route. Now, let's say we get the 3 on the same side as the back. Actually, you know what? We're not going to talk about this yet. Alright. So, the next thing we're going to talk about in match is the swing deep of 3 concept. The swing deep of 3 concept. So, what we talked about earlier is that we all need to have zone eyes. We all need to know where the number 3 is in the formation. So, in this case, it's the back. We need to know where the number 3 is in the formation. Alright? We all need to know where the number 3 is in the formation. If the number 3 swings to my side of the field, okay, we're going to flood the coverage to that side. We're going to flood the coverage to that side of the field. So now, my strong safety's dropping to the curl. He sees the back swing. He's going to push towards the flat. He's going to relate to number 1. The mic's going to now push through the curl. 2. The will's not going to push through the hole. And he has 3 up and back. He'll have to take, and we'll talk about this later, but he's going to have to take 3 through because you can treat this like weak flow. We can treat this like weaker or split flow. Split flow. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a second when we talk about skate and Mabel. So he'll take 3 up and back. The weak safety and corner are still playing their match principles on this side. So if 2 is up, the weak safety is still going to match it. The weak safety is still going to match it. Alright? So what we've done now is we've flooded the coverage towards the side of the number 3. We've flooded the coverage towards the side of the number 3. Now, some coaching points. The corner needs to recognize where the 3 is, because if that 3 swings, he needs to now run his midpoint technique. So he needs to go from modding to midpointing. So when that back swings, he needs to now work towards a midpoint angle on number 1 and number 2. The free safety needs to have an idea of where the number 3 is. He'll lean towards the number 3 side, or melt, towards the number 3 side of the 3 swings. So if the 3 swings, that free safety will start to melt towards the number 3 side. He'll start to melt towards the number 3 side. So again, we're flooding the coverage towards the swing. Okay? Strong safety in the flat, he's going to relate to 1. Mike in the curl, he's going to relate to 2. The will's going to push to the hole. He has 3 up and back and take 3 through. Alright, and over here we're playing our match. Alright. Next, I'm going to talk about some route combinations, some possible route combinations when the back swings. The first one, okay, is the backside drag or the over route. Well, the Mike's going to push through the curl. The strong safety is going to push through the flat. He'll end up taking the back. He'll become the 1. The 3 up and back rule ends up being the will. He'll take the 3 up and back. Weak safety corner, we're still playing our match rules. We're still playing our match rules. And the free safety will melt towards the back side. The back side. Okay? We're flooding the coverage. Another example. Another example. Now number 2 comes under on a shallow route. Well, Mike's going to push through the curl. He's going to have 3 up and back, take 3 through. He's going to take the number 3 through. Take the number 3 through. The Mike will get ready to robot towards the hole. Okay, so now we can play the shallow route like we did before. Last combination. This is probably the hardest one to deal with. Okay? Strong safety will push to the flat. The Mike is going to push to the curl. They got to take 3 through. Well, who's the final number 3? 1, 2, 3. So the Mike has to take 3. The will now, that means the will, because he's away from the final 3, can robot. The weak safety is going to give an undercall, and he's going to squeeze back, be too weak to first crosser. He'll squeeze back until the first crosser comes back at him. The corner is still playing mod. The corner on this side is playing midpoint. That would allow us to handle any type of 3-level route combination, okay, that comes our way. So that's the swing deep of 3 principle, okay, in cover 3 match. Alright, so we're going to talk what I would think is probably the hardest route combination to deal with when we're in match coverage. We got 2 shallow crossers, and we got a wheel route by the back. We got a wheel route by the back. Okay? We also have a dig by the wide receiver to the strong side. Alright, so let's talk through this. So, first things first, the strong safety is getting a swing deep of 3. The back is swinging. Okay? So we're going to start to flood the coverage. We're going to start to flood the coverage. He has to take now the final number 1 through the flat, because you always got to take your players through your zone. So he goes through the flat. He has to take him through the flat and run with him on the wheel. The corner's playing mod, so the corner is going to play the number 2, or the number 1, I'm sorry, man-to-man on the dig with divider leverage. He could sit on the curl. The free safety is going to play the middle of the field. He has to make sure he stays in the middle of the field, does not come down on the dig, because he has to be able to play the post. Alright? The will and the Mike are going to start to flood the coverage. Because we got that 3. The will is going to push to the hole. Okay? And he'll end up taking the dig. It would be much like the over route that we drew up before. If we went all the way across the field, it'd be exactly like that over route that we drew before. The Mike is going to drop towards the curl, and he's going to look for that final number 3 coming back from the other side, and he's going to drive and take it through. The reason we have to take him through is because our strong safety took the wheel through the flat. So if the Mike doesn't take the shallow through the flat, I don't have a flat defender. And so I have to take him through my zone. Okay? The weak safety. The weak safety. He has no swing deep of 3 because 3 is away from him. Alright? Number 2's on the under. He has 2 weak to first crosser. There's no number 2 now. He's going to squeeze back for the first crosser. He's going to squeeze back for the first crosser. There's no crosser, so let's say that guy checks down. I'm going to squeeze all the way to the check down. I'm going to squeeze all the way to the check down. Backside corner. He's playing mod. He wants to be playing divided leverage on the number 1 receiver. So again, we've created 3 different levels because they have 3 different levels. Okay? That is what I would consider one of the hardest route combinations in match coverage. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is handling the difference between a swing deep of 3 and 3 in the down. Okay? So we have the swing deep of 3 rule where 3's fast. He's right now to the flat. We want to flood the coverage. Okay? We want to play flood coverage. Now when 3's in the down, we want to stay in our match rules. We don't want to flood the coverage. We want to stay in our matchup. So an example would be 3 on a check down. 3 on a check down or a square out coming from the line of scrimmage. Okay? I don't want to flood the coverage. It's too much to ask the safety, okay, to try to play a slow tempoed back and keep his eyes on a slow tempoed back, especially when that number 2 is already going vertical on him. And so instead of flooding the coverage, we're going to match it. The 2's up, I'm going to match him. The Mike and Will are hook defenders. They got to match 3 through. He's 3 through. The Will look to robot towards the hole to make 3 levels. That way, if we were to get something like this, we don't get high load in the middle of the field. Right? Something like that, we don't get high load in the middle of the field. Okay? 3's on the check down. He sits down. If he sits down between the Will and the Mike will stack the hook. So what they'll do is they'll stack on top of him. Like this. In their hooks. They will not drive on him because it's a zone match. So what we're trying to do is saying, we'll let you throw the check down with our eyes on the check down, but we'll still be in the hook so we don't get high load in the middle of the field. So again, we'll let you throw the check down over the center, okay? But we don't want to get high load in the middle of the field in the hook. So we're going to stack on top of the hook, like this. Vision the quarterback, shoulder square. Okay? Another example of 3 in the down is 3 on what we call an angle. Some guys call it a Texas route. Okay? So he's not to the flat right now. He's coming on the angle. That's 3 in the down. That's 3 in the down. That's 3 in the down. Okay? So if 3's in the down, we're going to keep it matched. We're going to keep it matched. Our Mike and Will handle taking 3, matching 3 and taking him through the back. If 3's not in the down, if he's fast right now, what we call swing deep of 3, now we will flood the coverage, and we will play flood coverage. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk a little bit about is why we have the opposite hook defender take the 3 through, and we don't have the near hook defender take the 3 through, or the will linebacker. If you have the near linebacker take the 3 through, okay, and you have to try to take him through, the Mike is looking at the hook. He's looking back towards the quarterback. Okay, he's looking back towards the quarterback. It's a much more difficult for him to take the 3rd level route. Because when he's turning, he's now turning the opposite way. He has to turn all the way around to find the third level route if he's going to robot. If I have the Mike take the 3 through, the Will's going to run into the dig when he robots. He can turn, run, and see the dig route when he robots. The other reason is that the Mike already out-leverages the shallow. Whereas the Will, once the ball snapped, is going to be out-leveraged by the shallow. As soon as the ball snapped and he starts to get any type of width, that shallow is going to out-leverage him, particularly if it's a tight split or a tight end. The Mike out-leverages the shallow route, so it's a lot easier for him to play the 3 through than it is for the Will. It also keeps with what we do conceptually with the defense, as in how the coverage is put together. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk about is area calls. Area calls are stack adjustments in cover 3. Okay, so we're playing match coverage and we get a stack. We're going to make an area call. The area call only happens between the corner and safety to that side of the field. The corner and safety to that side of the field. The rules for the linebackers don't change. It doesn't affect them. Okay? What an area call tells the corner and or the safety to that side of the field is that we're going to now play fist rules to that side. We're going to play fist rules to that side. Okay? So, my safety is going to be a curl flat defender. They're not going to carry 2 up and out, swing deep of 3. They're going to be a 3-2 player like we were in fist. My corner is going to midpoint like in fist. My corner is going to midpoint. My Will and my Mike are still weak and strong hook defenders. It does not change. Okay? Does not change. Now, depending on the divider leverage of the receivers will determine whether or not the weak and strong safeties in the curl or in the corners play inside or outside leverage with their alignments on the stack. If the stack, like in this scenario, is inside the divider, because remember our rule is 5-1 bottom, so in this case the divider would be the bottom of the number. He's the weak safety. The curl flat defender is going to start outside leverage. The curl flat defender will start outside leverage, and the corner, the deep third player, will start outside leverage because I have a middle of the field safety who can help me. Okay? If the receivers are outside the divider, the stack is outside the divider, so in this case, again, we're using our 5-1 bottom rule, okay? This would be 5 yards, so about 1 yard inside the hash. Now the curl flat and corner are going to play inside leverage. How far inside is based on game plan. The base way we do it is we want to be about 3 to 5 yards inside the stack. It depends on how wide the stack is and what they're throwing to the stack. Right? If they're throwing a lot of quick screens out to the stack, then I only want to be 1 yard inside leverage. If they're throwing a lot of quick game. However, they're trying to throw a bunch of in-breaking routes or they're trying to run the football, then I'm more inclined to put them 5 yards from the stack, possibly apex, depending on what they're trying to run. So that's a game plan week to week thing, but I want to be anywhere between 1 yard, 5 yards inside that stack, possibly apex, depending on what they're trying to do. So all an area call says is we're playing our regular fist cover 3 to that side of the field. The rules don't change. Let me say this again. Your rules don't change. So I'm still a curl flat player. I'm still a midpoint player. I'm still strong hook, weak hook, curl flat, midpoint. Okay? I could be playing an area call on that side of the field, but no area call on this side of the field. No area call on this side of the field. So we're playing match rules. 2 up and out, swing deep of 3. Corner's playing mon. Okay? The cover 3 principle remains the same. The cover 3 principle remains the same. The only change is whether or not we carry the verticals of 2 or we decide to drop to the curl flat area. Alright, so the last thing we're going to talk about when it comes to area calls is handling what I think is the hardest route combination, which is the mesh route with the tailback on the wheel. If you notice, this is the route combination we talked about earlier in match. Okay, so it's the same principles, it's the same ideas. Alright, now we just got some tight stacks, we're making area calls. The weak safety is a curl flat defender. He has to take one through the flat, so he's going to take the wheel route. The wheel and the mic are going to drop to the hook. Well, the back is fast to the flat. He's swing deep at 3, so I'm going to flood the coverage. I'm going to flood the coverage. Okay? The mic's going to push to the hole. He's going to end up taking the dig. The wheel is going to push towards the curl, and then he's going to end up taking the shallow through to the flat. The strong safety in this scenario does not have a swing deep at 3, and he has an under route. He's going to squeeze back and play 2 weak to first crosser. There's no 2 weak to first crosser. He's going to squeeze to the check down. He squeezes to the check down. Alright? So the corners are using a midpoint technique. A midpoint technique. So this corner over here, he'd be getting 1 on the 2 on that vertical, 1 on the shallow. He would squeeze number 2. Squeeze number 2 using his 60-40 rule because 2's on the vert, playing midpoint. The corner is getting 2 on a non-vertical route, so he's going to play mod on 1, so he'll end up squeezing 1 man-to-man in the outside trail with divider leverage. So now, again, I got 3 levels. 1, 2, 3. Okay, to play the route. I got 3 levels because the offense is making 3 levels. I got 3 levels because the offense is making 3 levels. Someone for the check down, someone for the shallow, someone for the wheel, and someone for the post and the dig. So that's how you play the mesh route with area calls and tight stacks. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk about with our coverages is how we handle motions. First in cover 3, then in our man match cover 6. So our zone match cover 3, our man match cover 6, and then finally when we play man-to-man. So if we're playing cover 1 or any type of straight man-to-man coverage. Okay? So in cover 3, if we're playing regular cover 3, so we haven't tagged the call with Mabel. We're not playing 3 Mabel, we're just playing regular cover 3. Okay? We're going to adjust, so in this situation we'd be on a Rita call, for example. Okay? We're all using our cover 3 alignments with our divider leverages. Okay? We're going to bump, alright, and play to the side of the pass, to the side of the motion, okay, and check the coverage. So for example, when I'm going from a 2x2 to a 3x1, if I'm going from left to right, alright, we would now bump over to the right. We'd stay in a Rita call because the passing strength's to the right, but we go from match to skate. So we started in match, and now we're going to play skate. So we need to get into our skate alignments. So in this situation, 3's not in the core. The mic's going to move to the hip of the tackle. The wheel's going to move over the center. If you're already down as a safety, right? Like if I'm a weak side safety and I'm already down, okay, I don't need to come back up to do any type of disguising. So I don't need to go back to 10 yards to do any type of disguising. I'm just going to bump to the hip of the tackle. Or 5x3 off the tackle, depending on what types of runs you're getting. Alright, so we're going from a match to a skate. So now we're playing Rita, skate. We're playing skate. On the back side, we're going to make a lock-lock call. The lock-lock call tells my corner I need to lock the number 1 receiver in Meg. It tells the corner I got to lock the number receiver in Meg. Alright, so now we're playing skate. We're flooding the coverage. Okay, and we've handled the motion. If they motion in cover 3 away from the passing strength, we need to check the passing strength. So if we started in a read-a match, we start in a read-a match in this scenario. Okay? Now they motion from the right to the left. We're going to go from a read-a to a Linda. A read-a to a Linda. And so now the call would be Linda skate. Linda skate. So now my weak safety has now just become the strong safety, and my strong safety has now just become the weak safety. My new weak safety needs to make a lock call to the corner and tell him to play Meg. Okay? And now we need to bump to the left side. This is why we say we're a hook defender, or we are a curl defender, or we are a flat defender. We don't talk about actual positions, because in this situation the Will is the curl defender, the Mike's the hole defender, and the original strong safety is the 2 weak to first crosser player. Okay? So that's why we talk about hook, hole, curl, flat, stuff like that when we talk zone match coverages. Okay, zone match cover 3 is because you don't know who that player is going to be. You don't know who that player is going to end up being. Okay? You don't know who that player is going to end up being. So this go from a Rita to a Linda. We go from match to skate. If we started in a 3x1 and we were in skate, so we started in a skate. We started in a skate. We're going to use our divider leverage rules. Free safety in the middle of the field. Okay, so now we're going to be in a Rita call. They motion back to balance. We stay in Rita. So they motion, we're just going to go from a Rita skate to a Rita match. A Rita skate to a Rita match. So we motion, we go match. Okay, safety's down. We stack back over the guards. And there we go. Playing match on both sides. Everybody's playing match. Remember, it's a full field coverage, so everybody's going to play skate. Everybody's going to play match. Okay? Now, if we're playing cover 3 and we tag it with Mabel, so we're going from a match to a Mabel now. We tag it with Mabel. We're going from a match to a Mabel. We're going from a match to a Mabel. Now we have to rotate the safeties over. We have to rotate the safeties. They may end up changing positions. So we start in a match. We start in a Rita match. Okay? Well, in Micah stack. They motion to the right. We go to from a Rita match to a Rita Mabel. Okay? So now we have to spin our safeties. So now our weak safety has to go to the middle of the field, and our free safety has to roll down. Okay? And we're playing Rita Mabel. Here's the deal. When we go from a match to a Mabel and we're spinning safeties, the safety that's dropping down, you don't need to stop at the disguise mark, so the 7 to 8 yard mark. We need to get you down to about 5 yards because we're expecting fly sweep. We're expecting some type of quick game by 3 or 2. Okay? And so we need to get you down to linebacker depth so you can get ready to play your run responsibility, and then on the pass you can play your curl area. My weak safety, this is probably the most important thing. On motion, if you were spinning to the top, you have to get to the middle of the field before you do anything else. Okay? So you're running to the middle of the field. Once I get to the middle of the field, then I can determine whether it's run or pass. But until I get to the middle of the field, all I care about is getting into the middle of the field. I care about nothing else. I don't care if they handed the ball off. I don't care if they ran inside zone. I don't care if they're running a play action, a drop back pass. I got to get to the middle of the field. The reason is that is what prevents things like fly sweep pass. Okay? That's what prevents things like double pass. It's what prevents things like play action, where they fake the fly sweep and throw on the verticals. When we're rotating these safeties down, we have to make sure that we get to the middle of the field before we do anything else whenever you spin safeties. Okay? It's important we all have zone eyes so we all know when we need to rotate on our motion. We all know when we need to rotate on our motion, and check from match to Mabel. If they're rotating away from the passing strength and we're playing Mabel, which we don't do a whole lot, usually we'll make it so we're going to play skate. But if they're rotating the passing strength and we're going to play Mabel, okay? Again, we're going from a Rita match now to a Linda Mabel. A Linda Mabel. So now their motion, we're going to Mabel Mabel. He becomes the strong. He needs to now roll to the middle of the field to become the weak. And the free safety needs to run at an angle to put himself to the boundary to be able to play that curl area. Don't run straight across the field. Don't do that. You need to run at an angle so you can meet the fly sweep player on possible fly sweep to the boundary. So you can make sure that you're ready and can see with zone eyes if we get any type of quick game by number 2 or number 1. Don't run parallel to the line of scrimmage. Run at a 45-degree angle. Strong safety, the original strong safety who becomes the weak safety, most of the time the middle of the field is going to be almost straight behind you. So you need to take a picture and look at where that middle field safety is, and so when they motion to Mabel, you have an idea of where you want to go to. Weak safety, you have pretty easy, you stay where you're at. Okay? But now we're going from a Rita match to a Linda Mabel. Okay? Same thing if we were playing Mabel or skate with a skinny tag. Mabel or skate with a skinny tag, right? We would need to rotate or bump on motion. If we were playing skinny skate, we need to bump on motion. If we were playing skinny Mabel, we need to rotate on motion. Okay? That's how we play cover 3 to 1 back, 2 by 2 to 3 by 1 motion. In terms of 2 back motion, if we're getting 2 back motion, so we're in fist. If we're in fist, if they motion a receiver or shift the tight end, all we do is change the pass strength. We do not change the coverage. We may change an adjustment, okay, but we're not changing to a different coverage. So for example, we're in a Rita fist. Okay, we're playing divider leverage. Weak safety's 5 by 3, could start at 10 by 3. Strong safety's 5 by 3, could be at 5 by 1. Free safety's in the middle of the field. Okay, Will and Mike are stacked. Corners, we're playing divider leverage. All we're going to do now is we're going to go to a Linda fist. Okay, now there's a possibility to make a cloud call. There's a possibility to make a cloud call. If we were to make a cloud call, free safety, whenever we have a nub flank to the field in particular versus 2 back sets, so wing T, I sets, we treat it like they've taken away this part of the field. So the new middle of the field is over here. Even though this may be the boundary, it's the new middle of the field. So I'm going to move over. If we make a cloud call, now the strong safety is going to move up. The strong safety move up. We've made a cloud call because it's a nub in cover 3, fist. Okay? Weak safety's down. Okay? So this becomes the new strong. This becomes the new weak. We got the cloud call over here. We're going playing cover 3. Okay? Playing cover 3. We're not changing fist, right? We're still playing cover 3. Now, if they start in a 2 back set and they motion to a 1 back set, they start in a 2 back set, we motion to a 1 back set. We need to change the coverage now from fist to either match or skate. Okay? Match or skate. Or Mabel based on the week, but usually it'll be match or skate. So for example, if they motion out and becomes a 2 by 2, we need to check from a Rita fist to a Rita match. Okay? We don't need to check the passing strength because it's a 2 by 2 formation. We just keep it to the same side. If they motion to become a 3 by 1 and we haven't tagged it with Mabel, Okay, we haven't tagged with Mabel. Now it's going to be a Rita skate call. Okay, we're going to start in fist, go to a Rita skate. We need to make sure we hit, bump over, weak safety bumps. Doesn't need to come back up high in disguise. Make a lock call. Free safety in the middle field. Okay. If they motion from 2 back, now the next one, the last one, is how we handle empty. A note about empty. We always have to play skate in cover 3 to empty. We play skate to the 3 receiver side and match away. Okay? So skate and match. Okay? If in empty okay, if in empty they motion and make a 4x1, we will automatically check Mabel. So we would go from a skate and match to a Mabel call. We go to a Mabel call, so now we rotate up and high, free safety drop down, we'd be in a Mabel call. Whenever we check from any type of alignment where we're in a hip to a Mabel, we need to bump back in the box. We need to get back stacked. That's really important. Your linebackers have to know how they adjust, whether they're bumping to a hip alignment or stacking back over the guards. Okay? If they motion to a 3x2, from a 3x2 into another 3x2, now we got to check the passing strength. So if it started in a Rita skate, now we got to go Linda skate. Okay? Now we're going to go Rita match. Now we're going to go Rita match. And so now we're going to go from a Rita to a Linda. We need to bump over. Now the will becomes the curl. The mic becomes the hole. The weak safety becomes the strong safety. He's the flat. Free safety is now the middle field defender. Strong safety and corner playing match coverage. Okay? It's really important that we know if we're bumping or we're spinning. In Mabel we spin, in skate we bump. Okay? In Mabel we spin, in skate we bump. Once we have a full field call, so for example, let's say we had a stack here, we had an area call, but it was match. We were in match with the area calls. Okay? When we check to Mabel or skate, everybody checks to Mabel or skate. The area call is now off. There's no more area call. Now we're checking to Mabel. For example, the area call's gone. No area anymore. Okay? There's the possibility of having to check with an area call. There's a possibility of having to go from an area with a match to a skate or Mabel box. So that's important. You go from area to box. And the call is going to go from match to skate in this situation. Okay? We get a lock call over here to the weak side. Okay? So it's important that we understand that if we're in an area call and they motion to the area side, we're going to check to a box. It's going to go into a bunch. If they motion away, we're no longer in an area call. We're no longer in an area call. The area call is off. The area call is off. Okay? Same holds true for a cloud call. Let's say it's a tight stack when we're in a cloud call. We're in a cloud. And they motion. And we check to Mabel. We check to Mabel. There's now no more cloud. There's now no more cloud. Okay? That's really important. That's really important to understand. Okay, those are the ways that we're going to handle motion out of cover 3. The next thing we're going to talk about is how we handle motion in cover 6.